Hi, my name is David with DeployReady. Today we're going to be talking about landscaping contracts with the federal government. What we have here is DeployReady. This is a platform that we had created to help with finding contracts, seeing if it's a good fit for your company, and then pretty much identifying factors that are either good for your business or not for your business, or whether you qualify to do them or not. And I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about, how this helps you do that very easily. So we're going to go ahead and log in with our account on DeployReady, and then we're going to go up to contract finders, and then we're going to put in our NAICS code. You don't have to remember it by heart. You just need to put it in by word. Landscaping, let's see, landscaping services, it popped up right here. You could go ahead and filter it by state. So if you want to look for them in your state to see what active contracts there are. Landscaping services is something that the government uses. Every single agency, the DOD, Department of Interior, any agency that you could think of has a contract out there. So we'll go ahead and do the search. I like Department of Defense contracts. Those are ones that I look at. Those are pretty much, I like them because they have multi-year contracts for those, and they like to write those out so that way they could use the same contractor for about 3 to 5 years. So let's see, this one's good. This is Department of Defense grounds maintenance contract. We'll go ahead and save that so I could refer that later. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. And then, so what this does is it takes you directly to SAM.gov, pulls up the contract for you. So you can see right here, this is Department of Defense. You scroll down, let's see the original published date. You get all the information that you need right there, some background information right here, but you're gonna wanna upload all the attachments. So this is Tobyhanna Army Depot. This is actually pretty cool because I have a separate company that does contracts. And my first contract that I got was at Toby Army Depot, and it was for a custom cement mixer that they needed at the base, and that was a few years ago. But I don't make custom cement mixers, but that's something that they needed a small business to go out there and source for a custom spec. But I'm going to go ahead and download all my solicitations and attachments. It's a lot, and for those of you that are new to contracting, there's a lot of stipulations within these attachments and information you're going to need to determine whether this is something that you're going to want to do going forward. And it's a lot. It could be a lot. Right here, it looks like we're getting over 10 attachments. So I'm going to continue to download all of them to my download folder. And I think we're about 20 files. What's great about this platform is that once you download the files, you're not spending a week to go through all the clauses. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go to analyze RFP, so request for proposal. So you're going to select that tab right there. You're going to go to upload solicitations. You're going to go to all the attachments that you just loaded, and you're going to select them right here. Go ahead and select all of them. There's 19 files. It'll take roughly 30 to 90 seconds to go ahead and process all this. So what you see is all your performance work statements for about 12 attachments on this one. It's a lot. I know that there's landscaping companies out there that have maybe 1 to 10 man crews that are thinking about getting into federal contracting, or maybe a company that already does contracting for the government has a lot of past performance with these. But anybody who does any type of contracts, I know there's a lot of videos out there that says, hey, it's easy, you could go and get the contract yourself, but there's a lot of stipulations when it comes to contracting with the federal government. They're very, very detailed and specific about what is required of the contractor, and you'll see in a moment the platform's going to analyze and do its thing. So what you see here is your original solicitation. You see questions and answers. Usually when they post a contract, they give you a couple deadlines. So you have the final deadline to submit the contract, but before that you have the question and answers to the contract officer. And that deadline's usually probably about maybe 5 days prior to the closing to give them enough time to respond. And if they can't answer some of your questions, sometimes they'll extend the contract to answer your question. They'll extend the deadline. And so as this is working, the AI is used to go ahead and read through all the documents and the solicitation pulled up. Didn't take long for it to pull up. So the benefit of this platform is it's going to read through all the attachments that you have, no matter what it is, whether it's Word documents, whether it's PDF, whether it's Excel files. It's going to pull everything up, and it's going to tell you, it's supposed to give you a snapshot right away. A lot of people spend time searching on their own, trying to find these contracts, and then reading through all the attachments, and then there are literally a litany of landmines in the contract language that kind of prevent you from either bidding on the contract because you found it probably about a week or 2 weeks into writing your proposal or going into this, and then you just go over a clause and you're like, man, why did I just spend a week or 2 weeks or my weekend spending on these contracts, because there are these clauses that come up. And so the platform's designed to pull everything up for you. So over here you'll see what the contract is, what the agency is, where the location is, Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania. And then you see the point of contact here, as well as a number that was pulled from the SAMs. And so right here is going to go over all the special requirements for this contract. There are some things that may come up when you're scratching your head and you're like, well, why are they putting this in the contract? Because it's a landscaping contract. And one of those that pops up for these is a CMMC Level 2 self-certification required at the time of the award. This may or may not be applicable to you and your company because you're just providing landscape services. That's a cybersecurity type requirement that comes up, and this is a landscaping contract. So there's some requirements that come up in these contracts that may be applicable to you or not, but they need to be on there. So right here you see that there's a site visit scheduled for June 23rd. It's June 29th today, so it's a little bit past deadline for this contract, but it tells you where to go, or gives you an idea where to go. So it's at 11 a.m. Eastern time. You got to go Building 20 to Garshak. This is a best value trade-off evaluation, so this is not a lowest price technically acceptable contract that you're going to be pursuing. This is a best value trade-off, so you're going to go ahead and price accordingly. So you're not going to go bare bottom. I'm not going to tell you why that's important later. So all these kind of requirements come up with the workers' compensation, employer liability minimum. So it's $100,000. You may or may not have that already, but it flags it right here. Any personnel that's going to be supporting this contract needs to do anti-terrorism level training required. That's usually a web-based requirement, OPSEC. All these, you're going to take a minute to look through all these flags that the finder had surfaced. And I know it's a little bit much, but it'll go into a little bit of detail. So you're like, all right, well, this is a lot of stipulations over here. We might already be postured to do this, or this is something that we could easily do. So I'll go to eligibility tab and say, all right, well, I like what I'm seeing so far, so let's see if my company is eligible. And so I'll do a eligibility check. So one of the things that happens when you use this platform is that the platform looks to your company, right? It pulls everything in terms of what your company profile is on SAMs, your NAIC codes to see whether it's matched up with this contract, because whenever you do bid for a contract, the landscaping NAIC code needs to match the solicitation that you're going to be bidding for, and a lot of times a contracting officer is not going to allow you to bid for it, or they're going to throw your bid out if you don't have that code flagged on your SAM registration. And if you don't have your SAM registration, you're kind of thinking of doing landscaping, you already have commercial businesses lined up. One of the easiest things that you could do as a small company, I know there's some companies out there that try to charge you for taking you through the step process, but this is something you can do for free. You just go to SAM.gov, and all you do is take your business information, whether it's LLC or corporation or whatever it is. You go register. It usually takes about 3 to 4 business days for the government to review it and then give you your UIE code and then your CAGE code, and then you're ready to submit for government contracts. This platform is the second step. This is after you had done SAM.gov, and you're ready to find contracts, and you want to see if you're eligible. And so after you had went ahead and submitted your company profile, this is something that you do first. So I filled out my company profile right here, and what I do is I get that UEI number that I was talking about. I put it right here, and then I put my case code, and then I put my capability statement, company description, what I am, set aside certifications. And the platform's going to know whether you're certified or not. So if you're not familiar with these certifications, Small Business Administration does set aside certifications for veterans, service disabled veteran-owned business, historically underutilized business zone, or whether you're an 8 Alpha or women-owned business or economically disadvantaged women-owned business. I may have messed that acronym up. There's a lot of them. You put in your core capabilities, and if you have any past performance that you want to reference, you put it right here. And you also add additional information to your company library. And so right here you could add capability statements, past performance, certifications, key personnel resumes, financial data, insurance, licenses, reference letters, whatever you want right here. The platform is going to look at every solicitation based off of your company's current standing. And so you go back to the tab over here. It already did its assessment of whether I should pursue this or not, and it flags certain things based off of your company profile, whether you should review, say, hey, this is something that we do meet or not. But it flags all these requirements based off of what the contract requires. So the platform already verified that you're registered with SAM. That's a basic requirement to do federal contracting. That's step one. So right here, it flags a gap. So my company doesn't do landscaping. I don't have that NAICS code because that code that the solicitation is for 561730 for landscaping services under 9.5 million average annual receipt threshold. So it correctly flagged it, said, hey, either I got to update my SAM registration to have it, which I don't. I'm not going to mark this as verified. This is a contract I'm not going to pursue because I don't have the code. It flags a CMMC level 2 certification. This is one of those things, if you want to know a little bit more, it's very easy and convenient. So what the contract reference comes up over here, and you'll just select it. And so this pulls from government data sources. The platform only pulls from government data sources. Excuse me. There's about 20 different federal data feeds that this platform reads from. And regulations is one of them. So when the platform flags and reads this opportunity, it'll surface them up so you could read them yourself. So if you don't know what that is and you want to know a little bit more about it, you can read about it more here. Asking for workers' compensation gives you a minimum there. They're requiring 3 past performance references required with proposal submission. So that's there as well. And then you have service contract labor standards, compliance, wage rates, revision 31 incorporated into pricing. So you go to far right here, you'll read a little bit more about that to see if you can. But for service contract labor standards, the platform reads from the labor wage rates from the Department of Labor Standards and the Davis-Bacon standards for construction. So if you want to do a little bit of research and how that applies, it'll tell you over here is like how should I price my landscaper for this, or my site lead, or whatever. And I'll show you a minute in how you could do that and why that's important. Also here, this is a key one. So E-Verify enrollment, this is another platform or service that you have to subscribe to or fill out. It's free. It's a government verification service. So anybody who is fulfilling contracts for certain agencies, they're leaning hard on this requirement for the E-Verify. And you can research on the side what E-Verify is. It's very easy to register for, but that takes a couple of days. To keep that in mind if you're not already registered in E-Verify. But it'll tell you what the thresholds are here. It'll cite exactly what that FAR is there. And then I was also compliant in terms of FAR 52.212-1. So this is commercial items of rep certification because I've already applied. It'll explain to you what that is right here. And that's talking about my HUBZone certifications, my service disabled veteran-owned small business certifications. And then also Buy American Act. So when talking about products and services, the government's leaning more towards Buy American. This is something that recently changed. So if you want to read a little bit more about that, you read it there. Job hazard analysis, activity hazard analysis, and site-specific safety contractor accidents prevention plan. So this is an OSHA requirement. So this is something that I don't have on my company library, which I showed you. So if I don't already have it, then the platform's not going to flag it. If you already do and it's not on the platform, then you already have it. So you just mark as verified. And then other considerations right here that you need to consider. So these are the online courses that your personnel have to take after the contract is awarded for anti-terrorism level 1 training. These are pretty easy videos that you do. But these are just certain stipulations and requirements. So you go to the next tab over here, salary and market. Nothing comes up because there's no full-time employee language on this. So they know that you're going to need manpower to fulfill this, and that it's going to be pretty much up to the contractor what that's going to look like. In this contract, they're probably going to tell you what they need for this, and then you're going to staff accordingly for this one. Pricing, this one skips to as well because there's no specific languages on there. And I'll tell you what the beauty of this platform is, and you'll understand in a second why that's important. Matches over here. So the platform also pulls from your personnel databases. So if you're using a CRM or you're using ICIMs or Workdays, ICIMS or Workday, or any other recruiting platform where you already have somebody on staff, the platform could pull from that and then base this off of the contract. So if it sees full-time position requirements and you already have landscape maintenance workers on your Rolodex of personnel that you have, it'll tell you how many you have right now, or how many candidates you have in the pipeline, or how many you have to recruit in order to fulfill this contract. But this is not that contract. They don't give you staffing right here. It'll give you some recruiting assessments, and so it'll tell you what to pay attention to. So your Bureau of Labor Statistics data and your SCA wage rates for this, you're going to have to be mindful of. And it'll go over some risk factors right here. So this is your conditional goal recommendation. So it says, this appears to be an on-call services contract, landscaping, janitorial, or grounds maintenance, or similar, price per cut, per visit, or per cycle, not a fixed price, full-time employee staffing contract. So this one right here gives you kind of a brief synopsis of what's going on. And it'll tell you what the competition is and what the businesses out there recently got these contracts, similar contracts, awarded, and it kind of give you an idea of what the government's awarding to these businesses, whether they're small businesses or large businesses. AI Brief will give you a summary, so it'll give you an executive summary of what the contract is. So, key things that it flags is best value trade-off evaluation. That's huge because you don't want to price low, but you don't want to be high as well. So it also go, again, into detail about your go and no-go recommendation, what the competitive landscape is, the pricing strategy, will give you some recommendations for that. And recruiting, which is on-call services, so this is not a recruiting effort. And so the platform correctly identifies it. And the clause detected, so the E-Verify, it'll pull that up again to make sure that you didn't miss that one. And then cost intel right here. So this is important when you're talking about maybe 3 or 5 year contracts when they're bigger, not necessarily for landscaping, but when you're talking about goods and services that are larger contracts. The company will flag some pricing trends on cost of material. So if you're providing fuel to the government, it'll tell you what the fuel cost is year over year, whether it's increasing at a certain percentage, and this pulls from FRED data, so the Federal Reserve information. It's all government data, and then it'll apply this here. But this doesn't really apply to this contract. Right here, bid economics. This one already ran. Sometimes it'll prompt you to run the bid economics, and you're just going to run the bid economics, and that takes probably about, depending on how many attachments you have, it'll probably be about 300 to about maybe 350 seconds in order to go ahead and do it. But what this is meant to do is, this is a good example of the platform actually looking at it as a project manager. So it's not putting the data in front of you, analyzing that contract the way your project manager would. And so right here it'll go over some key factors, right? So grounds maintenance workers that you're obviously going to need, and it's going to break down in detail why you need it, and it'll cite which attachment it did its analysis from, right? So right here, it briefly tells you the ground maintenance worker is going to perform mowing, trimming, edging, weeding, mulching, leaf removal, litter pickup, and general grounds upkeep for the performance work statement task schedule. So it's saying about 2,080 hours per year. It requires 26 cut cycles from April to October across 230, a little over 230 acres per the attachment figure 1 map. Fence line trimming, weeding, mulching, general ground maintenance, vegetated roof maintenance, leaf litter removal, spring and fall cleanup, estimating a crew of 2 full-time equivalent workers across the 28-week growing season plus shoulder season work equals about 2 workers, about 40 hours a week, 26 weeks, and then this will scale at the visit based on actual acreage. And so it'll estimate the value right there. So always check the hours, right? What you're gonna get. And so what I mean by that is you're gonna see, well, grounds maintenance worker, I'm gonna go ahead and see what the government pays for that. So I'm gonna open up a separate tab here just so I could show you. So I'm gonna go up to my pricing lookup tab right here. I'm gonna open it up in a new tab, and I'm gonna go ahead and go to labor rates right here. And I'm gonna put grounds maintenance, and I'm gonna search to see what the government is referencing for this. And so right here it pulls up, labor, what the government is paying in their GSA schedules. So it'll give you an idea of what they do. So labor is ground maintenance worker with the logistics company is charging about $21.76 with high school education and 5 years of experience. So that's about $21 that the government pays for there. And it'll give you kind of a median of what's paid for, so you could kind of price accordingly of what you're getting. So the median rate is about $34 for a groundskeeper, for lack of better words. And then it'll show you what the minimum rate is right here and what the maximum, right? So you have the minimum rate, you have the maximum rate. Remember, this is a best value contract. So you're gonna go ahead. Let's just say we're gonna go with the median rate, $34.59. So I'm gonna go back to this tab right here, and this one's pricing at $45.91. So I'm gonna change that one. Let's see, back again, it was $34.59. I'm just gonna go with $34.59 or 30. Was it $34.59? Yep, $34.59. $34.59. I'm gonna go ahead and save that. And so that's about how much you're gonna be setting aside for those workers. You're probably gonna be using the same workers for the snow removal, so I'm gonna keep it there. Crew supervisor. So how much does the government pay for crew supervisor? I'm gonna go ahead and select this. Go back to my pricing tab, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a new search and see what a crew supervisor gets paid for. And so assistant crew supervisor from this vendor, GSA approved, charges about $59 an hour for crew supervisor 91. Me personally, I don't think I would go that high. I'll probably keep it lower, but we're making sure that our labor rates are still competitive. But to me, that's a little bit high, but you can see what they're paying for, what's on schedule for those. So it's up to you. It's your call. Where do you want to go with it? And so let's just say we'll go with 75 on this one. Let's see, 780 hours per year. That already does the calculations right there for you. Grounds maintenance worker, vegetated root. Again, you're going to want to use the same workers from that. If not, you go ahead and price that in. And then you have grounds maintenance workers, mandatory safety security training. So this is probably something that they could do for their off time. Maybe you have to go to on-site in order to use a government computer to do this. That's probably not going to cost you anything at all, or maybe you're going to want to pay an hour for that training. You want to set it aside for let's see, we'll pay probably $18 an hour for training on that one, or whatever the base rate is for minimal wage for that grounds maintenance worker. You're going to want to check that. Materials, so mulch, you're probably not going to pay anything because this is something that you're going to be shredding. It tells you here. So expect about 150 cubic yards per year. Again, it reads from the solicitations and the attachments and tells you what flags what you need to know, like a project manager would. And so it references PWS attachment figure 4 mulching areas and identified mulching zones across the depot, estimating about 150 cubic yards based off of a typical military depot mulch area of 15,000 square foot at a 3-inch depth. It's a conservative estimate pending site visit acreage confirmation, right? So it's also recommending that, hey, double check this information when you're going to go over there and do your site visit. And so this is an estimate here, but you're going to want to flag this, and you're going to keep this in mind later because you're going to want to be taking that mulching off. That's a requirement for this contract. Pre-emergent herbicide. So this is per the Exhibit 12. They're telling you exactly what you need to do. So 2.5 gallon jug, pre-garden weed preventer or equivalent. So however you want to price that, let's just say you get it for $10 a jug. You're going to want to price this in because it's telling you about 20 jugs per year that you're going to use. So it's about $200 cost for those jugs that you're going to use. You're not going to want to miss that in terms of cost. Post-emergent herbicide, again, you're going to go through all this. I'm not going to go through this in detail, but you get the idea. But what I want to flag is that it'll tell you on the bottom here that it's referencing attachments, and then when you start scrolling over here a little bit more towards the bottom, you're going to start seeing what the AI is telling you and recommending, which you don't necessarily need to follow through with or not. That's up to you. It's a judgment call. So remember, you want fuel and everything, and it's telling you not to skip these things, so you're not skipping anything in pricing. Equipment. So this is for mowing operations. It's going to go over equipment, and you're going to start going lower. I'm going to start getting to more what's more inferred by AI. And this is a pretty substantial contract in terms of attachments. Some of these attachments and solicitations could be about 40 pages long. Some of them are single attachments, PDF. They're giving you a layout of what the grounds are. And then travel for this circumstance. So if you're out of state and you're going to be traveling, maybe you're in the next state over, or depending on how you're going to do it, you could price this in right here. Workers' compensation insurance. So this is AI estimate. So you're going to put your actual workers' compensation included on here, and then you may already have it. It might be covered on your commercial side. So if you want to take that out and not include that in the contract, so you could be a little bit more competitive on price, you could leave that on there, leave it out there, or make sure that that price point is accurate. Go over other insurance requirements here. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And it'll give you some risk factors and some recommended reserves to hold back, like some considerations that you're gonna need to consider when doing this contract. So there's severe winter factors that you got to consider. So above average snowfall season might not be priced into your contract. And this is probably one of the reasons why they want to go best values, because they know that the contractor is going to be factoring the risk costs into the what they're pricing. So it'll go over all the risk factors right here, and that's pretty much an example of what comes up. And over here, as you do your price adjustments, it'll go ahead and tell you where you're at in terms of labor, indirect cost, materials right here, and you're going to want to double check that. And then if you do like this contract and you're going to spend time on it, you're going to go over here and you're going to go to your proposal generator. Since you're going to want to generate a proposal. This reference library right here, you can put previous contracts that you've written, whether you want them or not. I would, and you don't need them. It's not a requirement. It's only a style reference for the contract, the platform, to go ahead and create a proposal using your language and style. So it's not gonna, you're not gonna get the AI style. So what's important with this proposal generator is that it's only going to flag what it sees in your company, and it's going to give you options to write the proposal yourself. So we're gonna select this solicitation that we just did. So this is ground maintenance snow removal services that we had, right? So I have style references. I could use them if I want to. And again, you're going to want to read the attachments, and there's a couple key sections that you're going to want to look for. And so this offer instructions to the offers, There's section L and M, I believe it is. There's instructions to the officers, and that tells you exactly what font that has to be, how it's going to be submitted, how many attachments you're going to have, or whatever, how many sections you're going to need to talk to, whether you need talk towards, whether you need past performance, whether you need an executive summary, or whatever it may be. It's going to be there on the solicitation. And so if I have key personnel, I'm just going to use myself for this. This does a search for your key personnel that you have on file that you put in your company library, and it'll pop up here to reference it. So right here, it's going to ask you sections to generate: an executive summary, technical approach, past performance, pricing narrative, compliance matrix. This is kind of extra. You don't really need it, but I select it because I want to see it. I could always deduct and take away language from the proposal that was generated. So it's better to have and not need it all. And so I'll just take them out. And so what this does, this takes a minute. You're going to go ahead and confirm all this. I'm going to take the compliance matrix out. You may not need all of this for this proposals, but I'm going to go ahead and generate proposal. This pops up and it'll remind you that you have 6 critical gaps between your profile and the solicitation. So you have NAICS. I don't have that on my SAM profile, so it'll go over this CMC level 2. Hey, this is something I could easily do. So I'm cool with that. And all this insurance, it may not be in my company library, but I know I have it for my business, or I could get it. And then 3 past performance references is something I could do. You review all the flags and say, hey, I'm going to want to proceed anyways. And then it'll go ahead and start generating your proposal. So this takes a minute. This takes anywhere from probably about 4 to 7 minutes to generate for you. And what it's going to pull up is it's going to create your cover page. And since you already have your SAM profile linked to this, it's going to put your company information on the cover letter just like they want. You're going to have a table of contents. And so it's going to go ahead and break it down with the table of contents so you don't have to do it. And so sometimes it'll get the page numbers for you, and sometimes you have to right click and update the table of contents, and it'll just map to all the paragraphs that you have. And you're going to want to review your proposal to make sure everything's accurate, the language is the way you want it. This is meant to do 90% of the lift. Don't ever use AI to write the proposal in full for you. Let it do the heavy lifting. Let it write the narratives for you, or the sections, and lay it out for you. Always double check your price. Always double check your compliance with the contract, and review everything manually before you submit. So the heavy lift of this platform that's going to give you is that there's plenty of contracts that are out there, and you're going to spend a lot of time looking through each one, and it's going to prevent you from spending time on a contract and man hours that's something that you're not capable of doing, that you don't have the correct NAIC code, or there's just a certain requirement that's flagged there that's going to save you time. It doesn't take you much to look up these contracts. And what it also does is once you use the platform, it'll send you out an email per the codes that you have on your SAM profile. It'll tell you what popped up that day in terms of contracts that you want, so you're not on SAM.gov looking for it every day. And so it'll tell you each day what popped up under your codes. If it's for landscaping, you're going to see every landscape contract that posted that day on SAM.gov. So it'll just post it. You're going to look, you're going to review it, and you're going to use this platform. And the biggest value, in my opinion, is it's not just the structure that it gives you for your proposals that it generates. It saves you time on the ones that you shouldn't be pursuing. And then it identifies clearly the ones that you should, so that you can spend time for. So for a good proposal, for a good effort on this, you can see how fast that it'll identify and it'll analyze a proposal for you, and you can make a determination of whether you want to pursue or not, and then generate your proposal, and then take the time to actually take that next step. Like, hey, this is an effort that I want to pursue. I'm going to go ahead and double check everything, right? So the AI flags everything. The platform looks at all the key requirements and then puts them there, but nothing is perfect. And everything is always on the business owner to make sure that it's accurate, but this is going to get you there a lot quicker. And I'm not going to go ahead and go through the proposal. It's going to take a minute to go through the proposal. I'll tell you one that's already generated. So we're going to go over, let's see, We'll just pick one up here. Let's see, we'll just view this one. This is how it looks like after it had ran. It'll give you the sections by executive summary. If you want to make any changes and tell them to change any language on there, you could just give it feedback on the AI. Hey, I want to change, I don't want to talk about this, I don't want to talk about that, and then rewrite with your feedback. Like, I don't want to say Capstone is fully committed and honest and transparent and disciplined performance. I just want to take that out. It'll take it out. And then once you're done, you'll go ahead and download the docx. If you like it as it is, and you want to edit it yourself later, you could go ahead and do it, but you could download this docx. You could bring this up. And so what it does here is, one second. What it does here is, I'll show you. So right here it gives you your cover page, automatically does it for you. It gives you your table of contents. So again, you're gonna want to refine and clean everything up. So I use myself as a reference. It has all your sections for this project. Required a project manager, scrum master, solution architect, pricing narrative, everything that you want to go through. It just generated 50 pages of a proposal for me. Again, you may or may not want to use everything. You're going to want to get rid of these notes right here. So it'll tell you if these pages didn't populate on Microsoft Word, go ahead and press Control A or F9 to update, and then the numbers will populate on the page for you. And then so you go here, and then you have your executive summary. And then you can scroll down through here as needed. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I don't like everything being bold, and I don't think contract officers like it being bold either. So you're going to want to clean that up. The AI highlights certain things that you need for this, so you don't have to. You can just unbold them later, but it'll give you a full proposal. And let's see, I'm trying to look at the side of this document right here so I can scroll down. It's a lot of pages. It has certain key, page 24 or 50 that you're going to want to do automatically. So if you're not savvy with Word documents, it's going to go ahead and do it for you. And then it's also going to put confidential right there, so that way they could use for contract proposal submission purposes. And so I'm going to go all the way down. Again, you're going to want to review everything. You're going to want to take things out or leave it in as needed. But this is all the information. Again, it does all the heavy lifting for you, but at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be reviewing this until you're comfortable, and you're adding or taking away information that you may or may not want to use with this proposal. But this is it in a nutshell. Just a quick recap. There's about 200 contracts today, being Monday, June 29th, that are out there that you can look for, and most likely they're in your state. So if you're a small business, you have a small crew, government work is great because it's consistent. It's away from the commercial side. It's there. It's in a contract. It's coming your way, and it's just a good addition to your current business. And this example is a very complex example for a proposal. They're much simpler than this. This one's, the DoD tends to have a lot more requirements than a lot of agencies have. So you're probably not going to see the CMMC requirement on a non-DoD contract. So don't let this one scare you away. The Department of Veteran Affairs, they have a lot of contracts. Those are pretty much straightforward, but this is a good example in terms of what the platform could do, but not a good example of the complexity of a contract needed for landscaping. So they're much simpler than this. But that's all I got today. Good luck in your search. Go ahead, look for them. Best of luck, and let me know if you have any questions or comments. Just please put them below. And give me some feedback. It's always great. And then one last thing is, the platform is priced for anybody. So it's about $79. It is $79 a month. It's about 2 grocery bags these days, or you're filling up a tank for a Honda Civic in California a month. And you can see how much work it does for you. I haven't even gone with all the other features, but I will in other videos. I hope you liked the video, and looking forward to your feedback. Thank you.